So what did you do today?
Um, I played one of the plays that you gave us. I know it was lift.
Mhm.
Um, I did get in Dollar General.
Ooh, yeah, well, you did well today. Yeah, it took off.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. All right. All right. So I want to start off by let's look at the swing trade list I gave out. I'm not sure if anybody saw that. Well, I know y'all saw it, but I'm not sure how many people um paid attention to it, right? It had like 14, a few people, saying got in and saw the list. So first things first, when I do actual trade plans, just like detailed trade plans, they're under this my trade plan tab. If you can't see that, you can click on channels and rows and then go to browse channel. And then in here, some things may not be checked. Excuse me. Some things may not be checked, but if there's some things in here that you need to check, you could do it under browse channels if you can't see certain channels. By default, when you sign up to the Discord, every single channel isn't selected. It's just like, some of the main channels are there by default, right? So you have to go there and add more channels if you can't see that. I think my trade plans should be included in everybody's, but for example, this day trade focus list that I just made may be something you have to add. Now, back to this tab. These are the when I add these lists right here. So when I say these are bullish, bearish, swing trade stocks, for a swing trade, you want to go through these stocks, and the reason why I gave them out, I gave these out this morning, but you want to do like your trade plan for them. So one thing that I do, and I may start just attaching this into the Discord, but now I'm gonna put the list in here like this. And then on TradingView, what you can do is come over here and where you have your list of stocks that you're watching, you can hit this down arrow. And then under here you can create a new list. And then you create the list and then from there you can just call it swing trades, top swing trades, whatever you want to call it. And then like I did right here, top bearish swings. This list right here that I made on TradingView, it matches, what I'm saying, this bearish list, right? And then I just created a second list for top bullish swing trades. And this list right here matches the Discord bullish list. So then, you can, when you're using Black Wolf to do a swing trade, there's nothing wrong with a bullish stock like VTRX having a red day. When I put it out there, see, I knew that they all qualify for good swing trades yesterday after their price action. So when I put the list out, you can go ahead and do your trade plan because we're clearly in a what uptrend. We got to change the character, which means that when it was dropping, it came up and now it's trying to switch the trend on the daily time frame. That's where this change of character comes from. We got an inverse arc. Um, we pushed up. This BOS stands for breaker structure. And when you see these green BOS and change of character, when you see these symbols on your wolf chart, that's just letting you know that the stock is actually in an uptrend because you're getting these breaker structures when it makes a new high, a higher high, right? And so it broke structure again with this candle yesterday, which means it put in another higher high. So what do you notice about every time we get a breaker structure? Soon after that, we come down and what? Put down and put in a lower low. I mean a higher low. So we make this high that closed above the high of this candle. So initially when it was running up, it pushed up, pulled back, it pushed up again, and then it pulled back, and then it pushed up. So that's just making an uptrend pattern. And so yesterday it broke structure again. So it pushed up and made a higher high. And so that's why I put it on swing trade watch because I wanted to pull back and why it's pulling back, Black Wolf would know. Black Wolf will see the support. It'll see this fair value gap. It'll notice that you're mounting above the 200. It's also going to know that for this thing to really just get some legs under it, it already has legs under it before it gets sustainable continuation. The 12 cloud needs to cross above this 200 cloud, and so it can just get in a decent uptrend without saying much pressure pressure on it to fall again. So what you're looking for is you see how the blue this 12 cloud flip back to blue, and then the 200 flip yellow, and then we made this next little run up, right? And so we're back in this range. If you look at this stock above this historical support level right here, it normally will push up and try to hit this thicker support level. So it's playing around in this range a lot, right? And you see it here. It was in a downtrend. It fell, gap down, came up, closed the gap, got back above this historical support level, pushed up and tried to come up to this next level right here, right? And so we're in this same position again here, the same range, but this time when it sold off, it has resistance sitting right here. Once you cross over 471, but see, we're at 457 now, so we're pulling back into a fair value gap. Yesterday, they ended the day with a bullish Marbazu candle, which is just a really bullish candle that's saying that from the opening price all the way to the close, bulls were in control of this candle. That's why it doesn't have any wicks on it or a very small wick. So it pushed up and it created this fair value gap, and now it's pulling back inside of the fair value gap. And even if it comes down to 49 and tests this support level, it's still in a good position for a trade plan because you can just look at the structure of this trade. It's broke the 14-day trend line and the 30-day trend line, but it's trying to push up to this target right here. So that's why I had this one on the swing trade list. And you got app in the same, app pushed up today and tested the trend line, but you can see it has a bullish inverse arc on a daily time frame. It's already reclaimed the 12 cloud. When it's bearish and we're in the downtrend, the 12 cloud, which is this red and blue cloud, you see how as soon as we got under it and got weak under it, it turned red and we're in this downtrend. Same thing here. We got under it, open and close the candle, it turned red and we were able to drop. Now, it's got an inverse arc and we're back above it. And it's in the short-term trend and the long-term trend, which is the 200 cloud, is both bullish. And then we got an inverse arc. We got a level 3 confirmation. And so a level 3, for people that's new, that's just when you are above your 200. You're coming out of green money right here. And then you're above this 12 cloud. And you see this green diagonal trend line that's coming down with these little dash lines. You just want to open and close a candle with the wick of the candle and the body, not touching this blue cloud and this trend line. And so we got that, and it's trying to push up and break out. So it's in a decent position. And more importantly today, you got to change the character. Oh, is that attached to this candle? I think that's attached to that candle. To change the character. Yeah. So we got to change the character. And it gave us this because you see how we were in this downtrend. We had a high, and then we made we broke down to this low, and we pushed down, and we broke structure down here and got into this downtrend. But now this candle today just closed over this lower high, and so it got to change the character. So that means that it's probably going to pull back, try to retest some, maybe pull back a little bit, but then we'll be looking for this to get another breakout candle and continue higher. When is their next earnings date? I think this chart is in the way. Hold on. So they don't have earnings again until February, but it has a decent structure. Saying it's in the uptrend, right? It's breaking out. And now we have a change of character. It's trying to break out of this downtrend and break into a new structure. So what you want to see is it pull back, make a higher low, and then reverse on up. And you eventually will see this, break a structure pop up, and it'll try to go on to one of these type runs. Okay, so that's why we had like to break a structure, change the character. with the inverse arc. So the wolf trend moving average is always going to be faster than this symbol, right? So prior to this candle closing, right, this demand zone probably wasn't here. Depending on when it showed up, we can go on replay mode and just see right quick. But let's go look. We're on app. And so you just want to keep an eye on these swing trades, build your trade plans and things like that off of the trade plan. But the reason why the technology behind the wolf chart is is like more elite than typical traders are using. Normally, what you will see is when people trade supply and demand zones using smart money concepts, you see how this green zone is here, and you know where the smart money is. If you look at this chart now, it doesn't have a change of character, so there's no demand zone. So it needs that full structure before this chart, or before most people know that a demand zone is available. You wait on it to break over the high of this candle because that signifies that it was so much volume and continuation that only saying billionaires and hedge funds could change the direction of the stock and change the trend because they set the trend with their money. And but the WTMA, you see how it came down to this spot back on November the 25th. I'm looking at the bottom down here. So you see we got the crossover and the lock on the 26th. And so then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So within 4 days, we already knew way back here that this is where smart money came and entered the market. And so then now if I go to this next candle that closed today, it'll finally snap in um that candle. So when this candle right here closed, then it on the other traders say, oh, it's a demand zone right there, or it's a bullish order block. These were the orders were, but you see the position of the WTMA is already here. 4 days, 4 to 5 days ahead of how other people can understand where money came in at. So we can see it actually when it's happening, which is why the arc candle and the lock candle and this crossover is so important because it's already where the money is in real time. And so you want to go through this list and look for the stocks, saying the swing trades. This stock is in the Kava is in a downtrend, but it has room to come up and test supply. You all seen MDB gap up. It's pulling back down to retest this level of support that's been stuck at. It's been rejecting right here a lot, but if you pull over to the left side of the chart, you can see what it tries to do when it breaks above this level with some volume. And we know that we have volume because we had this money so close to us. So we just waiting on. We see smart money bought in here. They bought in right here. We also have a confirmation stack on MDB. We're just pulling back down to support. So that's why it's important to go ahead and do your top-down analysis in your trade plan. If you don't know what that looks like, all you're doing is, you want to get your chart position like this. Go to the 1 month, right? The 1 month chart looks decent as well. But when you go to this chart, you just screenshot the entire 1 month chart. It's important that your price on this side of your chart is clear, right? You see how all I have is the current day's price on here. Now, on some charts, if you go down and you have a bunch of colorful labels on there, like this right here, you have all this type stuff on there, or even more from like your drawings. If you put lines on there, a liquidity map, and it's like filled up with these flags, you just want to go down to this settings button, go to labels, and then uncheck indicators and financial value labels. Uncheck that. That'll keep all your drawings on your chart, but you will keep your price scale clean like this because when the AI is looking at your chart, it needs to see, saying exactly where price is. It needs to understand where the top of this arc is because even if you don't put liquidity map lines on top of your arcs, this resistant, or if you don't put resistant lines like this right here, if you don't put these type lines on the top of your arcs where you can see resistance, Black Wolf still knows that this is a liquidity map level. Even whether you draw it or not, when he does the trade plan, he sees where liquidity is by the top of these arcs on every time frame. Okay. So you can draw them on there, but it's not necessary for the top down analysis because it already knows that this is liquidity map levels and it remembers them on each time frame. So you a screenshot the 1 month, you a screenshot the weekly, right? When you're screenshotting for it to look at your VRVP, you see how I got this supply zone right here. So I'm gonna put the candle that started this red zone right here, this red order block. I'll put that at the very first candle on my screen because that lets me see, you know what I'm saying, the picture of the VRVP from the date of this candle where the sell-off happened, which is February the 20th. And so now I have a VRVP based off of this February the 20th sell-off. And so I can see kind of this volume range on our recovery back up to try to attack this. So you can see even with MDB is able to start pushing up aggressive because the volume over here is tapering down and making it easier for it to push up. It's at this trend line resistance currently. This is a 30-day trend line. So it came here and rejected on the first attempt. But you take a screenshot of that 1 week, then you drop down to the 1 day and then the 4 hour. And then you can go down to the 1 hour as well. And then you send those in to Black Wolf and say, you upload them to Black Wolf and say, give me a top down analysis and a trade plan. And then it'll break down, do a full top down analysis so you can kind of get a decent trade plan. Once you get your trade plan, say if it says, well, with MDB, you need to enter in on say, and you ask it what's the best entry time frame, blah blah blah, right? If it says that you need to enter in at price, let me see. Say if it says you need to wait until it open and closes a candle above the 12 or it breaks above 406 on a pullback. Say if it says you need to enter in at 377 on a pullback and then an inverse arc, right? What you can do is go ahead and mark those levels out or put your entry zone on your chart and label it. You can call it an entry zone because you have text and everything within the chart. You can add text. You can say entry, right? And then if it gives you like a stop loss level at say your stop loss level was down here at 367, you can put this on here and say stop loss, and then you can do your take profits above it, and then you can set alerts on them and everything. So, but the reason I'm saying this is that you can organize your chart in this way when you're doing your homework, so you can kind of whatever technique you use to remember your entries. That way, even if you flip down to the 15-minute time frame and say the price starts coming down here, and you notice that okay, it's consolidating right here, you getting the inverse arc, you coming back down to the 200 cloud, but you know that it's in your entry zone by flipping through your chart or setting your alert. You can put your mouse right above this level and hit add alert and just put the alert it say every time, and it's when it's crossing that price, right? Crossing that value, and you hit alert. So now when price drops down towards your entry, you know what I'm saying, it'll give you an alert at 384 so you can start preparing to see what you're going to do, if it's going to give you some bullish volume to reverse. But then you'll have your trade plan organized where you're not watching everything manually, having analysis paralysis. You just waiting on your alerts to trigger when price enters into the range, right? Then you can enter in. Now Black Wolf can give you contracts, option contract suggestions. It can't see the option chain live. So sometimes you got to make sure that when it's giving you an option, if it tries to give you an expiration date, sometimes the date won't match the actual direct date and month. I've seen it give like Saturday dates, but you want to be more concerned with the option Greeks like the Delta, things like that. And then does it need to be like how many days, 45-day options, whatever time period swing, you get all that information. But more importantly, you want to enter your zone, reverse, have that reversal action happening inside your zone before you enter. And so these are the top. You can organize them like this, and that way you can go on TradingView and you can have everything organized where you ain't flipping back and forth trying to remember exactly what was said But if you look at a lot of these stocks on this list, they all kind of been doing their thing and pushed up pretty decent from the morning. Some of them pushed up, some of them had little decent pullbacks. Some of them just took off. All right, so and that's the bullish list, and then the bearish list. One thing I noticed about the bearish list this morning is we got one stock inside of the day trade focus group that flipped the ATR first thing in the morning, and this was Snow. Snow had flipped uh, the ATR. There was an 843. I'll put that in there, but let's see. Right here, this was at 8:30 a.m. And remember yesterday on yesterday's call, I said when the ATR flips like that, um, that's letting you know that that stock has really strong momentum, right? And whatever that trend direction is. So it flipped on Snow at 244 at that price of 244. If you look at Snow when it first opened up and when it had already gapped down, but when it opened up at 244, it was still able to drop from 244 down as low as 234, right? But this one right here had the biggest move. Most of the move happened pre-market, but it was a negative, negative move on it. Lily also had, a lot of bearish action today. Lily, I think, is on the bearish swing trade list, but it's been dropping and dropping. The bottom was like I think 106, 10, I mean 1006 or 1007 on Lily. So I'm not gonna say it's the bottom, but it's that was a good level. I think not just only on these lower time frames, but even on the higher time frames. I don't think what chart was on because the actual breakout is still a nice breakout. But I think they're down near support now because they lost 1,030 yesterday. Um, I got that one. It may be a chart that I did a liquidity map on where I saw that they were going to bounce at 106. Anyway, you like they're at the 12 cloud here. They're inside the arc. The weekly chart doesn't look good. But I mean not the weekly, but the daily chart doesn't look that good. They're coming back down to this fair value gap level. I don't know if they're going to break under 1,000, but it's not looking good where they're sitting at. They're sitting on top of this volume node, but if they start holding under, especially that 1,006 level, and volume comes in, they got pretty empty, a pretty empty volume profile. Let me just shrink this down some more to really see. Let's see. You see how this run up that they had above their previous all time high. A lot of times when stocks are pulling back, they're just only coming back down to test their previous all time high. So if it comes down to like the 976.55 or comes down to this historical, and I think if they come back to their all time high, that'd be the first buy in. But you can see that they didn't really build a lot of volume on this run up because it happened so aggressive. So they can drop back down and try to just at least come back and test whatever their previous all time high was. So that's a good level for you to map out. 972. If they come down here and they start playing around in this range, and then the WTMA comes down and reverses, that'll be a good time to try to buy them. Because I think their revenue and everything is going to do decent because they've been selling a lot of those um, weight loss pills and stuff. All right, so let's go to the Discord and look at these different trade signals in here. So what I've been trying to do is cut down the alerts. I took away a bunch of them, probably like 40% of them. I'm trying to create more of these type focus groups and focus lists so we can have some already vetted trades. So we're going to go over the purpose of each one. So just for you all can increase your knowledge of why I'm trying to optimize the Discord and the alerts. But so let's go through each one. So inside of this top movers tab right here, these stocks right here are just telling us which stocks are getting fair value gaps, which ones are getting bullish momentum and pushing, right? So we look at this list right here, top movers is exactly what it is. Even if you don't know how to trade a fair value gap, even if you don't jump in on a retest of a fair value gap, the design of top movers is to let you know what are the stocks that are the top movers right now within this 15-minute window, within this 1 hour window, which stocks are moving, actually moving and getting volume in them. When we're trading, we just need the stock to be moving. And so when we're looking at this tab right here, even though it looks like a lot of stocks are in here, the more important thing is when you see a stock and it's kind of in this channel, and especially if it's repeatedly getting fair value gaps and it's showing up a bunch of times, these are stocks you want to pay close attention to when the market opens and you want to try to jump into some scalps and things like that. These are this is the tab for people that scalp and day trade. It looks like a lot of information, but in real time and when you're in the market, it's not a lot of information because you got to think about it. This is at 9:05. You got this list of stocks, right? You only got one bearish stock, but you got a list of stocks that had fair value gaps and they were trying to push up, right? And then here you see this, we got even more bullish price action popped in. I think CEG ended up going up to like whatever 370 something and pushing up. UNP was doing decent today. So it just shows you which stocks are getting momentum and getting volume. So this is all this tab is really for. This tab right here, demand zone conquered. This tab is to show you which stocks are losing ground where the bears are breaking through the order blocks. So like this comment right here reads with Lily. This was yesterday, right? So with Lily at 9:30 a.m., it says that now these are 1 hour apart. So for a whole hour, this was these stocks to focus on, right? You got Netflix, you got Lily, Amazon, and the list go on, right? So you got Lily right here. It says a 1 hour time frame, green order block, internal order block has been lost at the price of $1,037. This bearish momentum. Uh, chart it out and prepare for the next leg down, right? So we go to 9:30 with Lily. This was yesterday, right? On the 1 hour chart. Still in replay mode. All right, so we go to the nine. The yesterday was this. All right, so right here, this is 9:30 yesterday. It's a replay. Oh, what's today? Wednesday? Today is Thursday. I'm tripping. So we need to go here. So we just go at 8:30 from yesterday, right? Now the way I have them, it still isn't going to trigger the alert until after the candle closes, so we don't get like no fake outs or no kind of flickering order blocks. We just want to know that the candle actually closed and did what it was supposed to do. So you see here yesterday, Lily was at what $1,045. We're at eight. What is this? This is on the second, right? So we're talking about this happened on the third. So let's push up some candles. All right. So now this is at 8:30. Once that candle closed, so if this candle opened at 8:30, I mean it closed at 9:30. And once this 9:30 candle opened up and this 8:30 candle ended at 9:29 and 59 seconds. And then at 9:30, once that new candle opened up, it sent an alert to the Discord at 9:30 a.m. letting us know, hey, that green order block that Lily had that was protecting it from dropping, it just got wiped out. You got bearish momentum now. And that was at the price of $1,037.08. And so you see now the next order block is down here at 1,020, right? And so since we knew that they lost their order block, that's what I'm saying, prepare for the next leg down. And sometimes when coach be being, silly and I say free money, alerts like this, when you losing an order block, it's literally letting you know that the stock is finna push down. Like it's getting wiped. The bears have enough momentum to fill all these buy orders and push the stock. So that's why that alert and these demand zone conquers, and this is happening on the hour all throughout the trading day. So when you see these are like very strong, dominant signals to where you know that okay, the buy orders have been filled right here. It's pushing down. It's lost a demand zone, right? So it's a big deal to lose a demand zone like that and be dropping, right? And so the same thing with Snow today. Snow lost his order block. It's pushed back up a little bit inside this range, but that's bad that it lost that order block in this range and these other stocks as well. You want to go and look at those, right? And so in supply zone, Concord is the opposite. This is bullish. You know what I'm saying? This is letting you know that a stock is pushing up. The stock is pushing up, and it's you see how we had this red order block on the chart. When you get a supply zone, so I probably need to change it to red order block Concord, but and I may change that alert name. When you hear somebody say a supply zone and a supply zone, we're just talking about this red order block, and a demand zone is this green. So supply red, demand green. And it's the same thing when you hear us say bullish order block, bearish order block. And so we use those terms kind of interchangeably, but I really should just change the name of this little group to order block, right? But anyway, you see, this is today, and this is what's this stock? Didn't this stock break out today? RGTI at 9:30 a.m. after the first hour, right? So at 9:30, we got them on here, and them that's the list of stocks for that whole hour that had been making bullish price action, right? And so what's this third? 8:30. See, I get to the actual 9:30. So 9:30, 8:30 was here. So I need to do a replay back to here. All right, so just let's try to play it back. Okay, you see how RGTI had this order block here at the start of the day. All right, you see how this order block is here? You got actually two of them stacked into each other. And then so we get this next candle that broke. Not only broke through it, but it closed above it at 8:30. So, but you know, the 8:30 candle takes an hour to close. And so when this next candle closed, you know what I'm saying, we got the alert at the end of this candle. Before this candle happened, we got the alert at the end of this candle because this candle lasted from 8:30 Central to 9:29:59, 9:30 Central, right? So then we get this alert in that it just closed above that level at $27.63. And so you see $27.63 is at the close, as a closing price. You see, if you look up here, that's the closing price of this candle. So once this candle closed, that alert is sent to the Discord. And then you know that, okay, RGTI just closed above a red zone that had been holding it back. And then, it keeps pushing up. And so that's why when I say that the alert system, it seemed like a lot, but the same way, like with the wolf chart, I'm not putting in anything that isn't like gonna make you money. You know what I'm saying? I think is like a understanding of what exactly how valuable is this stuff, right? But you got like Serve on here and Sound and Verizon and all these stocks, Caterpillar, uh, Dollar General started out at the top of the morning, even though it pulled back to like 118, it pulled back after closing above this bullish order block. And then if you look at Dollar General's price for the rest of the day, that was this alert came in at what price? 121 uh up here. And then, it closed over an order block that was at this price, and then it pushed up from there to the next order block at 125. So as a trader, this is like invaluable information to be getting these type of when an order block is the green one is lost or when a red one is broken above and it's a confirmed breakout, right? So that's what these demand zones and supply zone order trades do. top movers let you know what's moving, and then the swing trade, not the level 3, but these right here. The only, how we use these inverse arcs. So we use inverse arcs when stuff is breaking out, and we use these bearish arcs when stuff is breaking down, right? So these let's come here right quick. Show structure. All right. So we got an inverse arc on Dollar General. This is from the previous day. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you get like inverse arcs around 12:30. You still get that 10 counter rule. So if you get one like 10:30, not 10:30, but like 12:30 or the previous day or like 2:30, those inverse arcs kind of play out the next day. But when we're looking at these trades, it's just telling us very valuable information. Like with Oracle, it's something to keep your eye on for tomorrow, right? Even though it did good today, Oracle ended the day with a daily inverse arc. So I put it in other words, if these alerts wasn't in here, right? So we got 1 hour all throughout the day, right? From 8:30 all the way into the market close, you would know. Let's see, it gets to 9:30. All the way into now look at this confluence. Snow had lost a bullish it lost that order block and it was dropping, but it also received a bearish arc confirmation at 9:30, right? You got Meta that confirmed an inverse arc, but that was kind of like it popped up so much. But every hour, it may seem like a lot of alerts when you think about all of them at the same time. But if you understand the purpose of each, at 10:30, we got all bearish arcs, right? Then we got an inverse arc on Dell. I think he went up to like 138 or something like that. And so it's telling you which stocks are getting bearish 1 hour time frame arcs and bullish 1 hour time frame arcs, right? And so that's what this is doing throughout the day. So on every hour, it's telling you, at 12:30, you got these. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of all the stocks that we track, out of hundreds of stocks, only 10 of them got either inverse arc or a bearish arc within that lunch period, right? And you're not gonna get the next batch until like 1:30, right? But at the end of the day, you also get these daily inverse arcs. So this is telling you that these stocks right here had a daily bullish arc, uh, INTU. You got some bearish ones. So these are bullish, and then the ones with the red little blood drop is bearish, and then you got Open and Zum, um, Piton and Cisco got daily inverse arc. So if we go look at Oracle on the chart, and we go to the daily time frame, we can see that instead of us having to go scouring through all these watch lists and trying to find this right here, which is money for us, we can see, okay, got a bearish engulfing candle, then we got the lock candle, and we got the inverse arc on Oracle. I'm gonna turn the order blocks back on so we can even see um, what our structure look like as far as the money. You know what I'm saying? So we got our order blocks, we got room, we got an empty gap, especially once it gets over 240. Is when it's extremely bullish over 240. But for now, you know what I'm saying, we can push up in this range on Oracle. You see how we got this inverse arc right here, right? And so that's good. Let me turn the support and resistance on in the 200 to kind of see exactly what we're looking like on a daily time frame. And so we're at a retest of the 200 cloud, but we got our inverse arc. So tomorrow it can possibly get back above the 12 and try to start creeping through here and try to come back up to these higher levels, right? And so it's going to be trying its best to get back above 242. So this is when they're going to put up their biggest fight. When the Bears try to come in and stop Oracle from going up, it's going to be in that 240 range because they know if it get over 240 and start holding, it can really shoot back up to 270, 280 like extremely quick. So they're going to stand their ground up in this range to avoid it getting in this empty volume range. Um, you see how what happened last time it did that. It was, this was was it Ernest or something like that, but it gapped up and pushed up. It came back down, closed that gap, came back down and retested the previous all-time high. But you can see how that inverse arc come in handy. And we got these for the 3-day chart. Like we have a 3-day arc here. We got the 3-day chart, the 1-day chart, and the 1 week chart, the 2 week chart, and the 1 month. So when a stock ends the month and a bunch of them get bearish arcs or inverse arcs, we know. If they do it on a weekly time frame at the end of the week, you can come back to the same tab. Anything they got inverse arc or bearish arc in the weekly time frame, we gonna know. So whether it happened on a 1 hour, the 1 day, the 3 day, 1 week, 2 week, or 1 month, we'll know what stocks are reversing and we can get early entry. And I just helped y'all to understand already. There's no demand zone right here. But if Oracle breaks up and it goes up high enough and it gets a change of character, you're going to see a big green order block pop up right here near where this WTMA is, because it already is tracking when they spending the money. And so that's what we use that tab for. We don't use this level 3. I'm gonna go back and try to reconfigure that one. Um, so those cover the alerts. Now, if you're more advanced and you've been in and with me for a minute, outside of these alerts, we have these private trade notes that I just opened up for beta testing, and we have inside of here it's a lot of different type of alerts. And but what I'm saying, if you know what you're looking at in here, if you inside of this tab, be in this tab if you are, more advanced and you know what all this right here means, because this is not a lot, but you can make a ton of money with this top movers, demand zone conquered, supply zone conquered, and this swing trade WTMA alerts. This is how what you base your. This is like filtering the whole entire market for you and giving you trades that have confirmation. This tab right here does the same thing, but it just does a little bit more with the telling you different candlestick pattern breakouts. It has daily time frame buy alerts, which I think that even if you are new, you can come in here and look for these buy alerts, because these are good signals, what I'm saying, from an indicator called AYN. But these are good buy signals here. So you can come in here and look for like these daily buys, 4 hour time frame buy signals. Those are good ones to look at. So you look at something like Zoom got a buy signal for the daily time frame. It's up inside of a supply zone though. Let me see if I got AYN on here. I don't have it on here. Let's see. If you need that indicator, is this one, the one by Snurk. You can add that to your chart. And so it has a buy signal going inside of a order block. But what I'm saying, I would say that this is still a valid buy signal, uh, because it closed above the trend line. But this is not a first test of this order block. This order block had a buy side liquidity sweep here. It's had a buy side liquidity sweep here. So now when it presses above here, you want to keep your eye on Zoom to see if it will close above 88, because they're putting money into it now. And so if it breaks above this level, if this level is not on 3-day chart, let's check the through. Now so what you still have been in this range on 3-day as well. Let's see. So that's not a zone on a weekly chart. So on the 3-day, you got 3 days. So next week, really, what I'm saying? If you close a trade day above it, that's good. But to really get above this level, you want to see Zoom close a 3-day candle above this 89 to 75 range. That puts it back in a big range where you will want to go ahead and get your earnings contract, uh, something expiring after earnings, to play this range, because unlike other times, the same thing that when I was telling you all some months ago about Citigroup, and I think somebody in Discord put me on Citigroup, but I looked at their chart and I told them, I said, hey man, this stock is breaking out of a rectangular consolidation. When you be stuck between a little range like this for a long time, but more importantly, now unlike these other times where the 200 was far away, it's already reclaimed the 200 cloud. And now the 200s come all the way down to this low range, and it's going to get all the way under the zoom, which hadn't happened in a very long time, since 2021. Now the 200 has come all the way down to the very bottom to these lows. And so once it gets above it and the 12 cloud gets back above it, Zoom might have one of those really strong breakouts. And when I say city group, it had a similar situation like that. You see how they were stuck in this range for a very long time. Let me turn AY in. They were stuck in this range for a really long time between two resistances. They kept getting stuck. You see that? They couldn't really break and hold above it. But then the 200 come all the way down to these lows. And then the 12 got above it. And then it put them in a situation now to where they've come all the way from down at 52. They're up 100%, even if you just bought the stock. And they're pushing up now. They got money still coming into them. And then if you look at where they're really trying to go to, their type of stock, this is like one of them type of breakouts or potential breakouts that, look at the range they're in now. They're just sitting in this huge range, but it's because of this type of rectangular breakout with the 200 being really far above them, and it finally comes down to the lows, and then it gets so it's going to end up being like that big bowl shape looking type of recovery. Some stocks have, Bitcoin does stuff like that, but that's what Zoom is looking like, right? So just keep your eye on that and keep your eye on this stock as well. And so we have these buy signals inside of there. And I'll cover these in more depth, saying on the next call. I didn't want to go longer than an hour. So if you all have any questions, I'm going to be in the Discord. And I just want to keep this recording short so that you all can play it back and go through it. But tomorrow, or I'm going to let you all know the next time we do a call. It may not be tomorrow, but we're going to cover more of the alerts. But I just want you all to kind of get a grasp of, it seemed like a lot, but when you know what you got and you know what you're looking at, it's really not enough. But the I'm quieting some of the alerts down so you won't have analysis paralysis. But the alerts that I'm putting in here are all catered toward what makes us money inside of the actual trade. When we start trading, what's really making us money. So that supply zone conquered, demand zone conquered alert is the equivalent of when coach say, hey, wait for price. Once price closes above, say we're waiting on this breakout on McDonald's. When I say once price closes above 321.78, then you want to look for the next leg up. That alert is doing all that for you. Like when this happens on a weekly time frame, it's just gonna say McDonald's just closed over, a bearish order block. Look for the next leg up. It's exactly like me telling you that, but instead of me telling you that, the alerts are just triggering. It triggers when it happens and lets you know, okay, this stock path just broke above or order block, and then when it happens on a daily time frame, it's even more powerful, right? So I appreciate y'all jumping on. I do it this way. I know I ain't giving everybody a lot of time to have some people on the call, but I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and you all can go back over it. All right.
Thank you, Shon.
No problem, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
No problem.